Football is often called the beautiful game, a world filled with passion, loyalty, and unforgettable moments that bring millions of people together. But behind the goals, the trophies, and the celebrations we all see on screen,
for Robert Taylor. Taylor cutting it back. Martinez left it.
There is another side of football that rarely gets talked about. A hidden world where secrets are buried, stories are controlled, and the truth is sometimes far more complicated than what fans are allowed to believe. Over the years, there have been moments that didn't quite make sense, decisions that raised questions, and events that were quietly pushed out of the spotlight.
Abushal, Ronaldo on the burst!
In this video, we're going to uncover 10 football secrets that were never meant to be revealed. Stories that could change the way you see the game forever. And make sure you stay until the very end. Because number 1 isn't just shocking, it's something football itself tried to erase from history. Number 10. Carlos Tevez refused to play. Carlos Tevez was known as one of the most passionate and aggressive players of his generation, someone who played every match with intensity and emotion, never afraid to fight for his team. But in 2011, during a crucial Champions League match, something happened that completely shocked fans and raised serious questions behind the scenes. When his manager asked him to come on as a substitute, Tevez refused. At first, it was presented as a misunderstanding, a simple communication issue during a high-pressure moment. But as more details began to emerge, it became clear that this was not just a small disagreement, it was the result of a deeper conflict that had been building inside the club for a long time. There were tensions, broken trust, and a situation that the public was never fully allowed to understand. The club tried to control the story, but the damage was already done, and just like that, Tevez's relationship with the club was over. But if you think that's surprising, the next story is far more emotional and far more mysterious. Number 9. Adriano's sudden collapse. Adriano was once considered one of the most unstoppable forwards in world football, a player with incredible strength, speed, and a powerful shot that made defenders fear him. Everything about his career pointed toward greatness, until suddenly things began to change. After the tragic death of his father, Adriano's life took a completely different direction. He started missing training sessions, avoiding matches, and slowly distancing himself from the game that once defined him. From the outside, fans saw a player losing form, but behind the scenes, it was something much deeper, something personal that no one could fully understand. Clubs attempted to protect his image, often downplaying the situation, but those close to him knew the truth. This wasn't about football anymore. It was about a man struggling with something far bigger than the game itself. And to this day, many believe we never truly heard the full story of what happened, but the next secret wasn't hidden because of emotion. It was hidden because of power. Number 8. Diego Maradona and dangerous connections. Diego Maradona wasn't just a footballer, he was an icon, a symbol of greatness that transcended the sport itself. But during his time in Italy, particularly in Naples, rumors began to spread that went far beyond football. Stories started linking him to powerful criminal organizations, whispers of meetings, photographs, and connections that raised serious concerns. While nothing was ever officially confirmed in a way that completely exposed the truth, there was enough evidence to make people question what was really happening behind the scenes. Was Maradona simply surrounded by the wrong people? Or was he caught in something much bigger than anyone realized? The reality is, football never gave a clear answer, and maybe that's because some truths are better left hidden. But what comes next is something that fans themselves started to notice. Number 7. FC Barcelona and referee questions. For years, football fans around the world have debated one controversial topic, whether certain clubs have received decisions that seem just a little too favorable. One team that often appears in these discussions is Barcelona. There have been matches where referee decisions raised eyebrows, moments that left fans, players, and even pundits questioning what they had just witnessed. Of course, football is a fast-paced game and mistakes happen, but when those moments start to repeat, people begin to wonder, was it just coincidence? Or was there something more happening behind the scenes? Officially, nothing has ever been proven in a way that fully confirms these suspicions, but the questions have never disappeared, and sometimes the lack of answers becomes a story on its own. But the next secret is not speculation, it's something that was exposed to the world. Number 6. Calciopoli scandal. In 2006, football experienced one of the biggest scandals in its history, a moment that completely shook the sport and revealed a hidden system operating behind the scenes. The scandal exposed match fixing at the highest level of Italian football, involving major clubs, officials, and referees. Phone recordings revealed conversations that suggested matches were being influenced before they were even played. Referee selections, key decisions, outcomes that may not have been entirely fair. The consequences were massive. Clubs were punished, titles were stripped, and reputations were destroyed. But even after everything that was revealed, many people believed this was only a small part of a much larger system. And if that's true, then what else is still hidden today? Because the next story takes us into the business side of football. Number 5. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's secret contracts. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has always been known for his confidence, personality, and larger-than-life presence both on and off the pitch. But behind his many transfers, there were details that most fans never got to see. Contracts filled with special clauses, unique conditions that gave him certain advantages that other players simply didn't have. These weren't ordinary agreements. They were carefully negotiated deals that gave Zlatan more control over his career, his image, and even certain decisions within clubs. Teams were willing to agree to these terms because his talent made it worth it. But it raises an interesting question. How much of football happens on the pitch, and how much of it is decided behind closed doors? Because the deeper you look, the more you realize that football is also a business, and sometimes the business is where the real secrets are. But the next story shows how information itself can be controlled. Number 4. Cristiano Ronaldo and media manipulation. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the most famous athletes in the world, a player whose every move is followed by millions of fans and media outlets. But not everything you hear about transfers, negotiations, and decisions is always true. Behind the scenes, clubs and agents often use the media as a tool, leaking information strategically to influence deals, create pressure, or shift public opinion. Ronaldo has been at the center of many of these stories over the years. Some rumors were real, but others were carefully crafted narratives designed to serve a purpose. The truth is, fans only see a small part of what's actually happening. The real negotiations, the real decisions, often take place far away from the public eye. And sometimes the biggest stories are the ones that are never officially confirmed. But the next moment is something that actually happened in front of the world. Number 3. France vs. Kuwait match incident, 1982. During a World Cup match in 1982, something happened that still feels almost unbelievable today. France scored a goal, a normal moment that should have simply counted. But suddenly the game was interrupted in a way no one expected. A member of the Kuwaiti royal family entered the pitch, protesting the goal and demanding it be disallowed. And incredibly, the referee agreed. The goal was cancelled. The match continued as if nothing had happened. It's one of the strangest and most controversial moments in football history, and yet it's rarely discussed. Maybe because it doesn't fit the image of how the game is supposed to work. But what if that wasn't the only moment like this? Because the next story reminds us how close football came to being completely different. Number 2. Lionel Messi and the decision that changed everything. Before Lionel Messi became one of the greatest players in history, his future was uncertain. As a young boy, he was diagnosed with a growth-related condition that required expensive medical treatment. Without it, his career might have ended before it even began. Barcelona made a decision that would change football history forever. They agreed to pay for his treatment, giving him a chance that no other club was willing to offer at the time. But here's the reality. If that decision had never been made, Messi might never have reached the level we know today. Football would look completely different. It's a powerful reminder that behind every legend, there are hidden moments that shape everything. But even this is not the biggest secret on this list. Because number one is something far more unsettling. Number 1. The secret football can't explain. There are moments in football that leave behind more questions than answers. Matches where the outcome feels strange. Decisions that don't quite make sense. Events that are never fully explained. Over the years, there have been whispers of games influenced by unseen forces. Situations where the result may not have been entirely natural. No official proof, no confirmed evidence, but enough doubt to make people wonder. And maybe that's the biggest secret of all. Not what we know, but what we're never allowed to prove. Football is more than just a sport. It's a world filled with stories, some inspiring and some hidden in the shadows. And the truth is, for every secret we uncover, there are many more that remain buried.